and more than 10,600 indirect jobs expected to be created. The ANC believes that this investment demonstrates confidence by China and South Africa as an investment destination. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Once again, I would like to remind members that earlier today, the National Assembly Rules Committee decided to amend the opportunities for member statements from 15 to 16. Allocating one more opportunity for the EFF. As a result, from now onwards, there will be 16 statements allowed during the member statements when they are programmed on our order paper. I'll now ask for the reasons. I'm sure the whips of the parties will indicate to them the reasons why. The DA?
Thank you, House Chair. Today finds this House in a rare condition of agreement over a national embarrassment. The big unknown is, are those able to do something about it willing to act? I'm referring, of course, to the national embarrassment caused by Minister Zwane's claim that Cabinet had agreed to a judicial investigation into banks because they had followed the laws on shady dealings to close down the Gupta family's access to banking services. When it was greeted by a storm of outrage, the presidency was quick to repudiate the statement, but there was no following declaration of intent to discipline the minister, whose claim was described by Business Day newspaper as an outright lie. Our mining law puts large discretionary power in the hands of the minister to grant mining rights. This is a fine demonstration of why such matters should be procedurally laid down in the law rather than left to the whim of an individual who may not be trustworthy or credible. The SACP and COSATU echoed the sentiments of Zizi Kodwa, who described the minister's actions as appalling and outrageous. As world leaders at the G20 laugh at us behind their hands at this passing clown train, we must now ask two questions. Was Minister Zwane acting on his own, and will he suffer consequences? And has the ANC majority in this House got the will and courage to tell the executive to fire this minister before he does any more damage?
The Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF.
Thank you, Chair. The EFF notes that the President of the ANC, who is currently assigned the important responsibility of signing bills into law, has for more than 2 years failed to sign the Minerals and Petroleum Resources Amendment Bill into an Act of Parliament. The President is not doing so because minor and narrow business interests are objecting to some of the relatively progressive sections of the Act which prescribe that a certain percentage of the minerals produced in South Africa should be beneficiated and industrialized in South Africa. The mining charter expired in 2014, and many of its transformative, not revolutionary commitments and promises were not met. There is no adopted mining charter, and the Gupta Minister of Mineral Resources is busy issuing illegal media statements to protect his masters, the Gupta family. The Parliamentary Legal Office and the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources have advised that there is nothing...
Honourable Member. Order, honourable members. Order, honourable members. When a member asks a point of order, he or she is allowed to. What is the point of order, honourable member?
Chairperson, I think that the member must bring a substantive motion when it's going to indicate that the minister is a Gupta minister. Please,
thank you, honourable member. Can you please conclude, honourable member?
Thank you very much. The mining charter expired in 2014, and many of its transformative, not revolutionary commitments and promises were not met. There is still no adopted mining charter, and the Gupta Minister of Mineral Resources is busy issuing illegal media statements to protect his masters, the Gupta family. The Parliamentary Legal Office and the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources have advised that there is nothing unconstitutional about the amended MPRDA.
Honourable
but there
member,
is still...
your time is up.
Thank you very much.
I think when we want to move substantive statements, we should do so through a proper motion, honourable members. The ANC.
The ANC applauds the opening of the first locomotive propulsion and control manufacturing facility in Africa in Johannesburg. The new 6,000 square meter facility in Johannesburg will produce Bombardier Mitrack high-power propulsion equipment for use in the state-of-the-art Transnet locomotive project. This production facility is an integral step in driving localization, transformation, and economic empowerment. Currently, the facility employs about 100 people, and this number is expected to increase to 200 by 2017. The opening of this facility is a boost for manufacturing in South Africa and is in line with the ANC policy of improving public transport system, create many new jobs, and contribute to skills development as buses, taxis, locomotives, and trains will be manufactured and assembled in South Africa. I thank you.
The IFP.
The IFP expresses its extreme disquiet with the manner in which the ANC and the MEC Nomsa Dube in particular, with regards to the elections of some office bearers in central municipalities. The IFP is now convinced that the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal and MEC Dube in particular are on a well-planned and well-orchestrated campaign to subvert the will of the people, just as they did in 2011 when they ganged up against us with other parties. In recent elections, the people gave a clear mandate to the IFP to govern municipalities, including Ngutu. But since the first meeting to elect office bearers in Ngutu, ANC councillors and members have been acting in an unruly manner with a clear objective of ensuring that such a process does not take place. The MEC has been aware of these shenanigans, yet she has deliberately avoided to take decisive steps. Instead, she keeps on sanctioning the postponement of these meetings. Likewise, in Jozini, on 23 August, a meeting was convened to elect office bearers and inaugurate the municipality. That meeting produced a stalemate with the IFP both receiving 20 votes. That meeting was postponed 26 August, and the same thing happened. ANC councillors did not attend. Again, the meeting was postponed to 30 August, and ANC councillors still did not attend. Surely the MEC is aware of all this, yet up to today, she has done absolutely nothing to deal with the ANC councillors. We are aware that there is a broader plan by the ANC to ensure that IFP municipalities are made ungovernable, and they want to take them over through the back door. This became evident when the Honourable Minister said in this House that he will not shy away from instituting Section 189 of the Constitution. I thank you.
Honourable Chairperson, the National Freedom Party has noted the announcement by the Minister of Culture that outgoing municipal councillors will receive a once-off gratuity equivalent to the 3-month salary for 3 months, as was the case in 2011. This gratuity serves thanks the individuals for their work and also allows them a financial secure space to seek other employment. Whilst we welcome the gratuity offered to outgoing municipal councillors, the National Freedom Party is dismayed that the same gratuity is not extended to the support staff of those outgoing councillors who have fixed-term contracts which are linked to the term of office of the councillors. Behind every serving mayor or speaker or other municipal office bearers, there are personal assistants, bodyguards, and a host of other support staff who do not have the benefit of permanent employment. They too, like the outgoing councillors, are facing a highly competitive employment market, but without the financial support to tide them over, which the gratuity affords the councillors. In addition, these contract support staff members do not have the future hope of a pension benefit like municipal councillors do, because benefits such as medical aid, pension fund, contributions, and other benefits are not available to employees who work on a contract basis.
Order, Honourable Member, your time is up. ANC.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. The ANC welcomed the election of South Africa as the chair of the Southern African Development Community in the 36th Ordinary Summit, which was held in Swaziland. The ANC has confidence that South Africa will use the chairpersonship of SADC to enhance industrialization, growth, and development in the region. as well to ensuring that the industrialization strategy roadmap that is adopted at the regional block is implemented. In doing that, the ANC believes that South Africa will assist in a great deal in terms of moving SADC towards a regional economic integration and create a better Africa and a better world without hunger, without disease, without conflict, and without underdevelopment. I thank you.
APC. APC. ANC.
Thank you, House Chairperson. On Sunday, the 4th September 2016, the 72 police officers who died in the past year were honored at the memorial service at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. The annual SABC National Commemoration Ceremony was attended by, amongst others, the Deputy President of the country, as well as the Minister of Police and his Deputy Minister. Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, Acting National Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Khomutso Phahlane, and family members laid the wreath to honor the 72 officers who died between April 2015 and March 2016. It was indeed a sad day to see the heartbroken and emotional families of those fallen officers, with 40 of them killed in the line of duty. ANC calls upon South Africans to condemn the brutal murders of police officers. Attacks on police are attacks against all of us. It is the attack on the security and the rule of law that makes society possible. Citizens should pause and remember to thank law enforcement officials who are the first respondents to accidents and other criminal activities. On a daily basis, they risk their lives to fulfill their mission of protecting fellow citizens. In their pursuit for safety, they served with dedication right until their untimely passing. Our hearts and prayers are with the families of the fallen and wounded officers.
Honourable member, your time is up. DA.
Chairperson, last week in this House, I highlighted the issue of former ANC-led councils such as Tabazimbi being left bankrupt by the outgoing council, to the extent that the sheriff of the court attached all the furniture and computers in the municipal offices. For the record, Tabazimbi had been under provincial administration in terms of Section 139 for 9 months, and clearly this had not resulted in any improvement. Now, Minister van Rooyen, sitting over there, indicated he would not be seeking any financial assistance for these municipalities from National Treasury in reply to my question. Just today, I learned that Greater Tzaneen municipality also had an attachment order served on it for an amount in excess of 20 million rand owed to a single creditor. At the same time, the newly elected council approved the purchase of a new mayoral vehicle at a price of 1.2 million rand. This while it cannot pay its own debts. And then there is the new mayor of Emalahleni, who last week took 1.5 million rand from service delivery programs to buy a new car. Maybe if the minister spent less time in camouflage outside Latuli House, our municipalities would not be subject to such blatant looting. Clearly, the gravy train is running smoothly in our municipalities, and the minister sitting over there is powerless to stop it.
The EFF.
The Economic Freedom Fighters condemns the actions of the murderous ANC government, who is at it again with its police brutality on innocent and defenseless students, and this time at the University of UKZN. And instead of you addressing issues concerning the demands for free education, the ANC government has sent police with rubber bullets and live ammunition on defenseless students who do not pose a threat to police, like what your deputy president did there in Marikana. The police brutality against the students in the University of KwaZulu-Natal, including a young woman who was raped last night because she was protesting. These are the things that have agitated our students, and they have now resorted to actions that are destroying university property and infrastructure that is much needed. All these events are happening because both the Minister of Higher Education and his deputy are nowhere to be seen in UKZN to provide any direction. I hope you can give us some information today. The EFF is of a firm belief and conviction that a lasting permanent solution in the crisis of higher education in South Africa will be the provision of free quality education. The ANC government's avoidance of the provision of fee-free education through a commission of inquiry is disingenuous. Students of South Africa should know that the ANC government, under this captured president and his cabinet, uses commissions of inquiries to run away from accountability in the same way they have done in Maracana and in the arms deal.
ANC.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The ANC applauds the Tshwane University of Technology's Faculty of Nursing. The ANC applauds the Tshwane University of Technology Faculty of Nursing for naming their department after Mama Adelaide Tambo, as this will preserve the legacy of South Africa's most humanitarian and fearless fighter for human rights. The Adelaide Tambo School of Nursing Science was named after the former Chancellor and ANC stalwart, the late Mrs. Adelaide Tambo, who was also a nurse by profession. Ma Tambo, as she was affectionately known, contributed largely to the dignity of the lives of our people. She was a prominent anti-apartheid activist who made an indelible mark in the struggle for a free and democratic South Africa. Besides her commitment in ANC, Women's League, and other structures, she occupied herself with community work, caring especially about elderly people in old age homes. She launched the Adelaide Tambo Trust for the Elderly and was the honorary life patron of the Cape Town City Ballet. Her contribution to the liberation struggle and commitment to community projects earned her several awards. The ANC believes that Comrade Adelaide is worthy of being honored, and we, the people of South Africa, owe her an immense debt of gratitude. It is indeed appropriate to honor the lives and times of our giants of the liberation struggle, such as Ma Tambo. I thank you.
The AIC.
Thank you, Chairperson. The AIC received a number of complaints from the traditional leaders with regards to unfair treatment, mostly traditional councils get from the government, more especially the Department of Culture. These are mostly from the Eastern Cape and Mpumalanga provinces. It appears that our traditional leaders are not being equally recognized with their counterparts, mainly those who seem to be the members or supporters of the ruling party. Equal or same services should be given to all traditional councils. Stipends that were promised to many of these leaders are not paid by the department. It also becomes a struggle to replace a leader who has passed away with the legitimate successor. The buildings or structures of their councils are old and dilapidated. Nothing is done to renovate these or construct new ones. Honorable Chair, while those sitting in the municipal councils have no voice to influence developmental programs in their areas, they also get nothing in many municipal councils as a stipend. That is why, Honorable Chair, we request the Minister concerned to see to it that all traditional leaders in every
Honourable Member, your time is now expired.
Get the equal treatment on sale.
The ANC.
The ANC expresses its disappointment on the Western Cape government's failure to implement recommendations of the Khayelitsha Commission of Inquiry. Many of these recommendations speak on learner and school safety, youth gangs, and lack of trust between community and police. Last week, over 500 members of Social Justice Coalition Equal Education and partner organizations marched to the Western Cape Provincial Legislature to deliver a
Order, honourable members.
a memorandum to the Premier, reminding her of the 2014 recommendations that have never been implemented. The Commission has also recommended that the multi-sector task team on youth gangs be established by the Department of Community Safety, but it has never been implemented or never happened. As the ANC, we want to remind the Premier that it is a duty together with the MSc of Community Safety to ensure that there is cooperation between communities and police. The Western Cape government must take actions and implement the Commission's recommendation and stop pointing fingers to the national government when they fail to deliver. I thank you, Chair.
The DA. Order, honourable members.
Honourable Chair, on the 2nd of September 2016, the Cabinet announced the new appointment of new directors for the board of SAA. These reappointments included the reappointment of Ms. Dutu Mnyeni as the chair of the board. During Ms. Mnyeni's time as SAA board chairperson, the state airline has become a financial disaster. Under her dictatorship, SAA has failed to publish annual financial statements for 2 years in a row. Irrationally suspended officials, apparently because they tried to curb corruption. Oversaw the BNP funding debacle, which cost SAA some 49.9 million cancellation fee. Put SAA at risk of losing the lucrative routes such as the Hong Kong route. Despite this, Ms. Mnyeni was appointed in a deliberate act of cadre deployment and nepotism at the expense of the people of South Africa. The decision to reappoint her in the face of overwhelming evidence of her incompetence is irrational and requires legal intervention. The DA is acting accordingly. Thank you.
The ANC.
Thank you, Chairperson. The African National Congress would like to congratulate the initiative by the Department of Science and Technology in working on positioning South Africa to take a leading role in biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. The department has developed the Farmer to Farmer Grand Challenge, which involved taking the necessary initiative and building the necessary infrastructure to improve the drug development value chain. The objective is to minimize the innovation gap and to create opportunities for the commercialization of products and services that will reduce the burden of disease and affecting a majority of the people. That is why then the ANC also congratulates the Minister of Science and Technology, Honorable Dr. Naledi Pandor, in being recognized for her outstanding contribution to nation building in the academia and human rights category, together with Comrades Mek Maharaj, Lieutenant General Vijay Ramlakan, Dr. Imtiaz Soliman, and Alzima Zondi. This was done by the newly elected eThekwini Mayor, Councillor Zandile Gamete, and Ukozi FM at the 9th eThekwini Living Legends Award over the weekend. I thank you, Chair.
The APC did not make use of the opportunity to make a statement. The ANC. Is there another statement from the ANC? The DA? The EFF? The IFP?
Honourable Chairperson, thank you very much.
Sorry, Order Chair.
Yes, what's...
Are you giving us the third one as EFF?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, wait, Honourable Member. Let me just explain to say that, take your seats, Honourable Members. What happens is if a party doesn't use the opportunity to make a statement, we simply repeat the sequence as it is there, right? So we will give now the next opportunity
House Chairperson.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Point of order. I was in the Rules Committee meeting, both of them that resolved on this matter. There was agreement across all parties that it was a use it or lose it scenario, and that there would be no passing over. So once we got to the end of the sequence, we'd get to the end of the sequence. If that's now changed, we're happy to go away and start preparing in future. But our understanding from that meeting was that the sequence, once it got to the end of that cycle, would come to an end.
Yes, honourable members, may I ask the table to then correct the documents that they prepare for the sitting in the plenaries this afternoon. It's not the first time that presiding officers are supplied with information that is still based on the old rules and not the new rules. Thank you, honourable member, for bringing it to our attention. The time for member statements have thus expired, and I will now
Chair,
look at
order.
ministerial responses. Yes, honourable member.
But you gave me a chance, Chair. Can I just proceed?
No, honourable member, we are not going to allow the additional. It's quite clear the parties did not prepare.
But
for
Chair, how
an
can you
additional
contradict
statement.
yourself within a short space of time? You said I must
No.
go. I'm prepared to go.
No, we will give you an opportunity when we do member statements again.
Chair.
I've made that ruling now, and
But
we'll
this
stand by
confusion that you are bringing in this House, Chair, no.
No. Thank you, honourable member. Are there any ministerial responses? The Honourable Minister of Economic Development. Are there any other ministerial responses? The Honourable Minister of Justice. The Honourable Minister of Cooperative Governance. The Honourable Deputy Minister of Intelligence. The Honourable Minister of Science and Technology. We'll take it in that order. Honourable Minister of Economic Development.
Thank you, House Chairperson. I welcome the statement by the Honourable Mantashe on the new investment announced by the Beijing Automotive International Corporation in the Eastern Cape a week ago. I informed this august House in April this year of the agreement signed at the Forum for China-Africa Cooperation between the IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation, and BAIC, which is the Beijing Auto Company, to consider the establishment of the first new light passenger assembly plant to be built in more than 40 years. Last Tuesday, the leadership of BAIC traveled to South Africa to turn the sod at the Kucha Industrial Development Zone for this new plant. In the first phase, 4.3 billion rand will be invested, which will create 800 permanent new jobs and 2,500 construction jobs. This is a boost to the economy and the consolidation of our status as Africa's leading manufacturing sector for the automobile industry. I wish to advise honourable members that the latest GDP figures for South African economy was released today. It showed a robust growth in the economy of 3.3% in the quarter to the end of June this year. Particularly important is that the largest positive contributor to GDP growth was manufacturing, which increased by 8.1%, and it contributed a full percentage point to the GDP. This growth is important to help grow jobs in the economy. While it is good news, we're not out of the woods yet, because global and domestic factors still constrain rapid and inclusive growth. We need to carefully nurture the investment environment and build on the strengths in the economy so that more jobs can be created and we can have greater successes with our industrialization program. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The Honourable Minister of Justice and Correctional Services.
Thank you, House Chair. Let me also echo the sentiments that have been expressed by a colleague from the ANC regarding the moving memorial ceremony that took place on Sunday at the Union Building grounds in commemoration of the 40 police officers who passed on in the past financial year. To say indeed, when one saw the tears running down the members of the families of our fallen heroes, the children, the widows, it was really moving. And I'd like to call on all of us to really reflect on the selfless sacrifices that many of our men and women in uniform make every day of our lives to keep us secure. But to indicate that as government we're committed to ensuring that we pursue the perpetrators of these heinous crimes against our law enforcement agencies, and we will make sure that from a prosecutorial point of view, we leave no stone unturned in ensuring that those that are found to be responsible for these murders are taken to task, and that high sentences are requested from our courts to ensure that a strong message is sent that we will not fold our arms in the face of a challenge from violent crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The Honourable Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Thank you very much, House Chair. House Chair, as the ANC-led government, our commitment to promotion of customary practices as provided for in our Constitution is something that is well documented and well recorded. And as a result of this commitment, we have seen provision created for the establishment of the National House of Traditional Leaders here at this House, at this level. We have seen provision for the establishment of provincial houses of traditional leaders, and we have seen accommodation of our traditional leaders in various municipalities. Now we are the first to acknowledge that irrespective of all the good work that we have done to ensure that we support traditional leadership sector, we still have some ground to cover, more especially in ensuring that the issue of disparity around how they are provided for in our respective provinces is taken care of. And as a result of that acknowledgement, we just came from a Lokota in KZN where we dealt with this matter, and in that Lokota, we further agreed that we will have quite an extensive and an inclusive indaba on traditional leadership matters in November this year. So as a result, we think that all these issues will be addressed, issues of disparities and issues of the application of the provisions for traditional leaders, which is not done quite uniform in all the provinces. So we think this is something that we are on top of. Now Honorable Chair, House Chair, you know, we have an avalanche of questions here. And I know that the rule only provides for 2 minutes, for us to respond to these questions. There is Josini, there is gratuity.
And with that, Honourable Minister, your time is expired.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Minister of Science and Technology.
Order, Chair.
Yes, Honourable Member, what's the point of order?
I agree with the Minister. He forgot to tell us what happened to Tuli House. We saw him sweating outside there.
That's not a point of order. Honourable Minister of Science and Technology. Order, Honourable Members.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The Honourable Member seems to have a very deep interest in Lutuli House. We'll invite her to come back home. Chairperson, I wish to thank the Honourable Maseko for the statement she has made.
Order, Honourable Members.
To the
Order.
Farmer to Farmer program. The biotechnology sector, particularly within the natural medicines domain.
Honourable Minister, let me just take this point of order. What is your point of order, Honourable
No, the
Member?
Minister is out of order. I will never go back to that dying organization.
No, that's not the point.
That organization is in crisis.
Honourable Member, that's not the point of order.
So the future organization, EFF, she must come along.
Honourable Member, that's not the point of order. Continue, Honourable Minister.
I think we welcome that good news for the ANC. Chairperson, we are very thrilled that South Africa has begun to develop its ecosystem for supporting a viable biotechnology sector. The natural medicine sector is a $100 billion industry, and South Africa wants to grab a proportion of that industry by developing from its biodiversity a range of pharmaceutical products. And our recent opening of a biomanufacturing facility at the CSIR is an important progress in this regard. We were also very, very pleased that the science sector, the academia, researchers, as well as the pharmaceutical industry recently held an innovative medicines conference at which we discussed how we take our biotechnology strategy into this domain of the $100 billion industry. We're working very hard. There are a number of very promising drugs coming out of our indigenous knowledge communities, which will be developed for commercial use. And we believe that South Africa is, through its biotechnology strategy, going to see massive job creation, massive entrepreneurship, and the production of global health products which will enjoy commercial success throughout the global community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The Honourable Singh, are you rising on a point of order?
Yes, Chairperson.
What is a point of order, Honourable Member?
I rise in terms of Rule 132, brackets 5, Chairperson, in response to what the Honourable Minister of Local Government had to say just now, that he only had 2 minutes. Now, if I read this, and I need clarity on this, on the interpretation of this rule, it says at the conclusion of statements by members, a minister or deputy minister present may be given an opportunity to respond for not more than 2 minutes to any statement. Now, if there are more than one statement which that particular minister is capable of responding to, should that minister not be allowed to respond to a statement for not more than 2 minutes? That's the clarity, because I understand there were a number of issues that were raised here that fall within the purview of the Minister of Local Government. Thank you.
Honourable Member, the time allocation for a minister to respond to a statement, and very often you do find statements that are very similar in nature, is a maximum of 2 minutes. We cannot allocate 2 minutes for each and every response that is there. I now want to recognize the Honourable Deputy Minister of Intelligence.
Thank you, Chairperson. Deputy
Order,
Minister,
Honourable Members.
Deputy Minister of State Security, actually, Chairperson.
State Security. Thank you for the correction, Honourable Deputy Minister.
I would like to note and welcome the comments by Honourable Hadebe on the occasion of South Africa's election as the chair of the Southern African Development Community and at the 36th Ordinary Summit that was held in Swaziland recently. We in the International Cooperation, Trade and Security Cluster, as well as the Justice, Crime Prevention and Securities Cluster of the ANC-led government, will continue to work in cooperation with our colleagues in the SADC region to ensure an enabling environment for peace and security so that our governments can implement their developmental goals and create a better life for all of our people. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy
Order,
Minister
Chair.
of State Security. Yes, Honourable Member, why are you rising?
We don't know her. What is her name?
No, Honourable Member, you're out of order now. Order. Order, Honourable Members. Honourable Singh.
Honourable Chair.
Oh.
No, Honourable Singh was on his feet and I recognized him before you, Honourable Member. Take your seat, please.
Honourable
Thank you.
Chairperson, thank you very much.
Yes.
I thought that the other Honourable Member was also going to speak to the point of order that I raised. But whilst I respect your ruling, I think this is a matter that requires clarity in either the Rules Committee or somewhere else, because it compromises the ability of the ministers who know so much to give us answers on all the statements as well. So I think we really need to look at it. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Shavambu.
No, look, I think the point
Is
of
it on the
order
same point, Honourable Member?
the point of order raised by Honourable Sope is genuine. We don't know the name of the Deputy Minister of Intelligence or State Security. Please tell us the name so that we refer to her by a correct name. We really don't know. Or we don't know as well.
No, thank you, Honourable Member.
It's possible.
Honourable Shavambu, take your seat now, please. The Chief of the Majority Party.
Chair, in seconding the point of order raised by Honourable Singh, as expressed under Rule 132.5, we will then propose, Chair, that perhaps the Rules Committee should come and give clarity on this particular matter. Because our understanding, and we agree with your ruling, by the way, Chair. We fully agree with your ruling as it stands now. But if there are statements made by members of this House, a number of statements, and the minister is only allowed 2 minutes to respond to one statement, we don't think that the House is made richer by such an approach. Therefore, our view is that can we then refer this matter to the Rules Committee for further clarification?
House Chairperson.
Yes, Honourable Steenhuisen.
May I address you in terms of Rule 1325?
Yes, you may.
Thanks. House Chairperson, again, we must point out that this is a result of the rules being rushed through at the end of last year without properly thinking about the consequences. However, this is not a new rule. This is an established practice of this House. Never before in any of the other parliaments have the ministers been given more than one opportunity or more than 2 minutes. I think what should be concerning the House far more is that of 38 members of the Cabinet, only 11 are here today. That should be what's exercising our attention in this House.
Honourable members.
They have a responsibility to account. If more ministers were here, maybe we'd be getting more fulsome answers.
Honourable members, may I request you that we are not going to have now a workshop on the interpretation of this rule 1325. Let us refer it to the appropriate structures that has been set up by the National Assembly, Honourable Singh, if you agree, so that the subcommittee on the review of rules and the National Assembly rules can ultimately deal with the matter, because it's obvious that there's different points of view. Honourable Shavambu, is it on the same thing that you want to raise?
Thanks, Chair. I think the other issue that must be referred to the Rules Committee is the fact that we agreed today in the Rules Committee that we're going to have 16 member statements from different political parties. But the practice is that only 6 responses are allowed. And in many instances, we are raising issues that need immediate responses from ministers and deputy ministers. Perhaps part of the issues that must be referred to the Rules Committee, I think it's meeting tomorrow, will be how do we deal with the fact that we've got 16 member statements and only 6 responses. And we'll deal with that aspect.
Thank you, Honourable Member. We'll refer that to the Rules Committee as well. Honourable Members, there's one more opportunity for a ministerial response, and I've recognized now the Honourable Deputy Minister of Higher Education.
Well, Honourable Chairperson, thank you very much.
Order, Honourable Members.
Well, we join the many South Africans, and especially those in the nursing fraternity, in congratulating the TUT for naming the Faculty of Nursing after our struggle stalwart. Umamu Adelaide Tambo is also a former Member of Parliament.
Order, Honourable Members.
On the issue of UKZN, we too condemn the violence that is taking place there, and we will be engaging with the leadership of SABC on the matters that relate to student brutality. We are, however, Chairperson, appalled by the utter act of vandalism happening there, and we call on the law enforcement agencies to act against those who are involved in such acts of thuggery, because, as we all know, arson is a criminal act. Secondly, we remain committed, Honourable Chair, to free higher education for the poor, and we request that our people exercise maximum patience whilst amicable and lasting solutions are being sought. Thank you very much.
Honourable Members, that concludes ministerial responses. The last item on the order paper is notices of motion. Does any member of the ANC wish to give a notice of a motion? Yes, Honourable Member. Order, Honourable Member. Order, Honourable Member. No, order, Honourable Member, we've moved on. No, we are now busy with notices of motion.
No, on a point of order, Speaker.
What is the point of order?
No, you've got a minister who's laughing about something that is so serious. He must either go shop at the waterfront or he must take his portfolio seriously.
Take your seat, Honourable Member.
No, it's not funny. You also think it's funny. You think it's funny that students are being murdered.
Honourable Member, please take your seat. Order, Honourable Members. Order. The ANC.
I move on behalf of the African National Congress that in its next sitting, the House debates ways to encourage and promote social cohesion and nation building at South African schools. I so move.
The DA.
Honourable House Chair, I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this House urgently debates the total collapse of the Tabazimbi municipality's finances as a result of years of ANC's mismanagement and corruption, and how this is severely hampering basic service delivery, particularly essential health services, to the community.
The EFF.
Thank you, Chair. I rise on behalf of the EFF to move that in its next sitting, the House debates the erosion of the dignity and importance of the office of the President because of Zuma's continuous presence in that office. I so move.
The ANC.
I move on behalf of the ANC that the House in its next sitting debates the development and strategies aimed at retaining young people in schools until they complete secondary schooling. I so move.
The IFP.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chairperson. I hereby give notice that I shall move on behalf of the IFP that at its next sitting, this House debates the latest abuse of power displayed by the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal and KZN Kokta MEC Ms. Nomsa Dube-Ncube, who have acted illegally by stalling the inauguration of new councils in the province, said to be governed by the Inkatha Freedom Party, thereby severely and negatively impacting on service delivery in many communities in that province. I thank you.
The NFP.
House Chairperson, thank you very much. At the next sitting of this House, I shall move on behalf of the NFP that this House deliberates on the crime statistics, especially those related to carjacking, murder, rape, armed robbery, and theft, and their impact on the socio-economic life of our country. I so move.
The ANC.
Thank you, House Chair. I move on behalf of the ANC that in its next sitting, the House debates the mechanism to deal with land invasion, in particular land earmarked for development.
The UDM.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the United Democratic Movement that at its next sitting, the House debates measures to ensure that policies that govern our schools do not only seek to establish a good learning environment, but also guarantee that these policies do not infringe the liberties and constitutional rights of our learners. I so move.
The Freedom Front Plus. The DA.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at the next sitting, this House debates the new African Union funding proposal model and its impact on national government's fiscus. I so move.
The ANC.
Thank you, Chair. The African National Congress, I move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House debates building more infrastructure, sports, and recreation, particularly in the township, in rural communities, to assist in fighting crime and promote healthy living. Thank you, Chair.
Go.
Thank you, House Chair. I move on behalf of the Congress of the People that the House, in its next sitting, debates the reasons impeding the President's assent of a Financial Intelligence Centre Amendment Act bill. I so move.
The ACDP. The ANC.
Thank you, House Chairperson. I move on behalf of ANC that in its next sitting, the House debates the promotion of food security as a way to lessen our dependence on food imports. Thank you.
The AIC.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the AIC, I hereby move that this House, on its next sitting, debates the problem of street kids and homeless citizens in our country, which is increasing day by day, especially in big cities, and how the government can successfully deal with the matter. I so move.
Akhang. The ANC.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. I move on behalf of the ANC that in its next sitting, the House debates the acceleration of the provision of proper sanitation in the rural areas as well as in informal settlements. I so move.
the APC, the PAC, the DA.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this House debates the co-investment fund proposed by government and business, which aims to support fast-growing and high-impact small and medium enterprises with a view to creating millions of jobs. I here move.
The ANC.
Always here, ANC. Thank you, House Chair. I move on behalf of the African National Congress that in its next sitting, the House debates ways to engage the private financial sector in order to facilitate its transformation to ensure that it contributes to investment and development priorities of the country. I so move. Thanks.
Thank you, honourable members. That concludes notices of motion and the business for the day, and the House is adjourned. Thank you.
Honourable Chairperson, Minister and Deputy Minister, indeed there is still a continuation of rural labour exploitation. Farmers continue to be treated like zombies, drained, disempowered and defeated, at times treated like objects, treated like things or even a matter. A modern-day slavery, where some huge combines and some farmers still scavenging over the carcasses of these poor souls, dying and buried in small unmarked graves, humiliated and destitute, exploited without measure. To some, 1994 has never done. I think the biggest apology is still awaited from those with conscience. Humility must define a farmer of the 21st century. Following the presentation by the Deputy Minister, Honorable Nkosi Udilisindaba Dolomisa, I must confirm that the Eastern Cape government is working with the farm workers, their unions and some farmers to ensure that farm workers, their children and families enjoy the better life that flows from the freedom and democracy we enjoy today in our country. At the center of our programs, Chairperson, is providing services like health care, education, human settlement, agricultural training, labor services, HIV and AIDS awareness to farm workers in the province of the Eastern Cape, so that we can breathe meaning to this legislation, so they can also be empowered to deal with socio-economic challenges they face. About 298 farm workers from Sarabatnman and Jogabi districts were trained on team supervisions, inventory management, family responsibility, bookkeeping, animal nutrition, animal diseases, field management, management of personal finances, tractor maintenance, business leadership, conflict resolution and first aid, marketing, project management, as well as animal health and disease control. This is to empower farm workers to have diverse skills, to be able to manage farms, to get better salaries, to be able to manage their own farms when they get farms from government. And this is a conscious act and conscious decision. The incidence of abuse of farm workers by some farmers, evictions of farm workers, are an indication that some of the farmers we have in the country and in the province are still do not value the farm workers. And their hatred will never be tolerated by this democratic government. I think, Deputy Minister, we need draconian laws. There must be an example when a human being is continuously unabated, declaring a blatant disregard of the policy and law of the country. Farm workers are generally exposed to hazardous working environment, which may lead to fatalities. Some farm owners have, in some instances, been found to neglect the general conditions of employment. There are instances where there are no formal documented contracts pertaining to minimum wage compliance, unemployment insurance fund, and workmen's compensation registration. These conditions prevail due to, amongst other things, inadequate training and information provided by employers. Honourable Chair, in order to support the land reform program in Eastern Cape and guide the implementation of the intervention program to improve the conditions of farm workers, my department conducted a survey covering 45 land reform farm projects in Sarabatman, Alfred Nzo, Joe Gabi, Amatol, and Buffalo City regions. The aim of the survey was to identify social support needs of LRAD farm workers. The survey covered farming enterprises such as crop, dairy, fresh produce, which are vegetables, piggery, livestock, and poultry. The findings of the survey vary from district to district and from farm to farm. Nonetheless, the most common findings were that most farm workers were exposed to dangerous farm working conditions, hence exposure to injury on duty, are generally semi-skilled and unskilled, and lack information on their rights. There is also high prevalence of child labor in some farms. There is uncertainty among the immigrant farm laborers where the employers comply with the sectoral determination number 13 of 2016, which is the minimum wage. Our program is to help farmers to farm and workers to have better humane relationship with the employer and employee. Farm workers and farmers need each other, and they must continue to work together to remove any hatred, ill treatment, and abuse, as well as harassment. In line with our policy as African National Congress-led government, has started working towards minimum wage through network discussion and through the presentation that we have managed to deliver here. Honourable members, having realized the challenges of slow growth and poor contributions of this sector to the economy, our department in the province of the Eastern Cape has since developed an economic transformation strategy. And this strategy underpinned by the following pillars: commodity-based commercial partnership model, a cluster-based community partnership model, which individually and non-economic land parcels through the establishment of nurturing commercial farming practices in communal areas. This is what we want to see happening. The integrated governmental support to enhance commercial farming systems through partnerships, and sector-based institutional system or an advisory council to drive, oversee, and lead the agricultural transformation agenda in the province. Research and development, monitoring and evaluation to guide the development, adoption and practice of appropriate processes and technology. Without achieving these, our work will always be difficult. Honourable Chairperson, unforeseen plight of farm workers in South Africa document has indicated that in the year 2012, out of estimated 610,000 farm workers employed in the country, Western Cape hold an estimated 121,000 farm workers employed in fruit and wine industries. On average, the minimum wage for the sector was 69,000 a day by the year 2012. However, many workers were paid less than 69 rand, daily. On average, the minimum wage for the sector was 69 rand a day in 2012. However, many workers were paid less than 69 rand daily. Farm workers in Western Cape depend on their farm owners for their income as well as other necessities such as children's school clothing and fuel on winter. Most of the exploitative practices are common on farms in this province. According to Human Rights Watch, as of 2012, only 3% of the farm workers in Western Cape belong to trade unions. The low representations in unions weakened their bargaining power, and those that are not unionized are not participating in protected strikes. We cannot invest where the farm workers are not treated well and they are abused. That is why our government, honourable ministers, and the people of our province were shocked by the allegations against Mr. Anthony Trollip and his family, who are accused of abusing farmers that work in their own farm in the province of the Eastern Cape. Indeed, this has been confirmed.
Order, members.
This has been confirmed not by any other one, but those that were working in those farms. And I think the Human Rights Commission is going to depict and show South Africans the depth and the extent of this human degradation and lack of human soul when we are treating other people in this country. These allegations are yet to be investigated, and we call on the Department of Labor, sir, to intervene in this matter so that the allegations are investigated and the claims by both sides are tested. At the moment, we have these serious allegations by workers who accuse their own employer, Mr. Trollip's family, of calling them baboons, paying them inhuman wages, whilst workers are allegedly staying in the areas with no amenities like decent toilets and housing. If I'm misleading you, let's go there now. While Trollip is faced with these allegations, the African National Congress-led government is providing decent houses for former farm workers in needs camp. Currently, as I'm speaking, we are supporting those farm workers in McLean Town, in Berkeley, in Mount Pleasant, and other parts of the province of the Eastern Cape.
Honorable MSC Koboshiane.
Because we've got work to do. Naso hluba ingubo yesidima kwelpon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Kaula. Honorable members, heckling is allowed, but you can't drown a speaker. Honorable Kaula.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, whilst South Africa got liberated in 1994, this is a liberation that has not yet arrived to some of the farm workers and their families in South Africa. The IFP has repeatedly indicated in this House that lack of effective monitoring of the implementation of legislation is the major culprit in this regard. In the case of minimum wage determinations, progressive strides have been adopted, but only on paper. Practically, conditions remain very poor in some areas. Circumstances and conditions under which some farm workers live also leave a lot to be desired. When you travel to rural areas of our country like Kokstad, Bulwa, Umzinto, Underberg, Vryheid, and some farming areas in KZN, in Gauteng, in Limpopo, in the Free State, in the Western Cape, in the Eastern Cape, the Northern Cape, Northwest, and Mpumalanga, the social amenities and infrastructure still remain very poor and appalling. For example, most farm schools still remain mud schools with multi-grading, poorly resourced, and with one or two teachers teaching a variety of grades. These schools still remain very far from communities which pose a challenge of long walking distances. This results in children in these areas hardly making it beyond primary school level. Commonly in farm areas, if you want to make it beyond primary school level, you must just run away from the farm. And this is not easy for most learners. They end up being employed at young age in the farms themselves together with their parents. In these instances, also perpetuating child labor. Health facilities and amenities are far away from their residences. Towns and cities are usually very far. They end up having to service a non-ending debt in a local farm shop for them to be able to survive. Public transport is not available to them. The social services like water, like RDP houses, electricity, and others never reach them because government will always claim that public funds cannot be spent on private land. These people vote, but practically they hardly enjoy any rights. There are some instances in farm areas where residents have to pay a monthly fee to the landlord or farm owner in order for them to continue living in a farm where they are working. If you have to have livestock, you must apply and pay rent for such stock. In addition, you have a limit of how many you can stock. Some of these farm owners and landlords are black people who have just become something else. Most of the farm areas do not recruit labor locally. They import labor far away so that they can exploit workers easily. Inkatha Freedom Party Honorable Deputy Minister is appealing to government to increase inspectors in labor, especially in the farming sector, so that farm workers can also begin to enjoy the fruits of liberation. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Julius.
At 21, Chairperson.
Don't worry, leave that to me.
Thank you, House Chairperson. You know, the living and working condition of farm workers is still a huge challenge after 22 years of freedom. And this is the real issue that we're sitting with today. You know, Deputy Minister Olomisa, indeed, we have legislation to deal with the rights of farm workers, but the Department of Labor failed to enforce these labor rights. Legislation for farm workers remain theoretical, and little has been done to actually change the lives of farm workers in our country. You know, your workshop on workers' rights that you've given us today is welcome. But why is it still happening today, 22 years in our democracy? You should give us a report and not a workshop. House Chair, the consistent politicizing of challenges that farm workers face is not taking us anywhere. You know, Honorable Nita, thanks for mentioning the oversight of a portfolio committee, but you should have read further. You failed to mention that during a briefing of the Portfolio Committee on Rural Development and Land Reform on the living conditions of farm workers commissioned by the International Labour Organization recently, the following facts came to light, and I think, Honorable Koboshiane, you must now listen. Farm workers in the Western Cape were by far the best paid in the country. And congratulations, Honorable Schaefer, you really done well to change the lives of farm workers in the Western Cape. Many farmers in other provinces paid farm workers far less than the legally required minimum wage. Farmers that had to comply with export regulations normally treat their farm workers better because they have to comply with these regulations. Labor and living conditions on farms, it also found that labor and living conditions on farm do not depend on the race of the farmer. This was research done by independent bodies and not my own assumptions. You know, it is very irresponsible to consistently play the blame game and ignore the real problems on the ground. If we ignore scientific evidence, we will never be able to change the lives of our farm workers in this country. You know, Honorable Prince, ek dink jy moet ophou om ras en area vir goedkoop politiek te gebruik. Jy gaan na mense se huise toe, jy sien 'n bees in die huis, jy sien hy toilet, jy vat 'n foto en jy loop. Om 'n foto hier te kom wys, wat het jy gedoen aan die saak? Plaaswerkers lewer dan nog so. Nou kom wys jy 'n foto, wat gaan dit verander? Jy moes die verandering gebring het, maar dit is tipies 'n ANC regering. Hulle sal kom kla oor alles, maar hulle vergeet hulle is in regering. Chairperson, it is a known fact that the ANC will never stop using race to divide our society, even today. To be honest, we had 22 years to change the plight of our people and the plight of farm workers specifically, but very little have changed. Change has occurred. In some cases, the lives of these people even worsened. You know what? It is, let me put the records also straight for you. You know the ANC, the most worst hypocrites I've ever known. You know what? You Atul Trollop, he said, I have proved that I paid my workers even double that money. He is heading to court to show to you that, listen here, I have done this, and this is what the outcome is. Why are you silent on it all of a sudden? But this was the ANC's desperation to will Nelson Mandela Bay. That was the reason why you brought it to light. Well, the good news is you lost. You lost. Even with all the dirty games that you're playing, you lost. But to go further, House Chair, you know, it is no surprise to me, the hypocrites in the ANC, the minister that is sitting there, the Minister of Agriculture, was found housing his 21-year-old herder in a tin shack. 21 years old. He worked for 7 days a week for 26 rand a day. Kosatu warned you to please pay the minimum wage to your workers. Where did you go to court? Did you go to court? Did the ANC take you to court? What did the Labour Department do to you? Nothing. There are other leaders, prominent leaders in the ANC that even pay their workers even lower, and it was found out. The hypocrites in you, you treat people with disrespect. After 22 years, you couldn't do anything to change the lives of farm workers.
Honorable Julius, point of order. I'm afraid your time is expired.
I thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable Makue. Honorable Makue.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and members. Honorable Minister Dikwana, Honorable Minister Olomisa, Deputy Minister, allow me to highlight some of the progress made in the last 22 years of democracy to protect farm workers. Due to time constraints, my contribution will only cover some of the projects. Honorable Apiri from Limpopo aptly states that the critical challenge that is facing South Africa now is how we deal with farm workers. An important element of political education and training in the African National Congress is to know where we are coming from as we progressively build a future that guarantees a better life for all. Honorable Smith of the DA is holding the wrong end of the stick. He's like a farmer that holds a bull by something else than the horns. He says that it's important to ensure that work gets done. The typical language of a farm owner who has a warped ethic of labor. Blacks are only there to get the work done. Our approach as ANC to farm workers is very different from that. We are mindful that that same province that this honorable member comes from, in the 1950s, had a potato boycott, where the precise thing was said by that farm owner of Belfast: the work must get done. The conditions of farmers is what he gives attention to. This debate that we're having today is about the plight of farm workers and their families. He says that South Africa is an importer of food. I don't know which South Africa it is that he is living in. Because if you listen to what Grain South Africa just said to us a week ago, they indicated that because of the drought this year, we will be importing. But next year, we will have an oversupply of grain. Don't come here and fool, if you fooled yourself, to try and fool the public as well. We in the ANC don't get fooled. When you are longing for the benefits of apartheid, you have the right to do that. And the ANC allows you that right. Long for the benefits of apartheid. They are dead and gone. Land reform in the Western Cape has clearly been demonstrated in what happened in the Durans, when the community there were up in arms because of the way that land has been reformed in this province.
Honorable Hatting. Honorable Makwe, can you take your seat? Can you take your seat?
That man shows disrespect. He points to me like that.
Chair.
I'm not your slave.
Honorable.
I'm not your slave.
Honorable Makua. Sit. I say, why a donkey? Honorable Chair. Sorry, Honorable Makua. Honorable Hatting. Let me address it. Honorable Makua, you don't have a right to address Honorable Hatting. Honorable Hatting, you don't have a right to instruct Honorable Makua what to do. I'm presiding, I can do that. Can you address your point of order?
Honorable Chair, I didn't give any instructions, to put that right. I didn't give any instructions. He wasn't listening to you. Honorable Chair, my point of order is...
Order, members.
The honorable member...
Honorable Mtimunye. No, man, just listen to the point of order.
Honorable Chair, the point of order is, in our rules, a member is not allowed to mislead the House. This member said the ANC gave people the right to debate. In fact, the Constitution gives people the right to debate.
Honorable
He's misleading the House.
Honorable Hatting, can you take your seat? Honorable members. Order. Order, members. Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, let's refrain debating with a person at the podium. You have speakers that you have good speakers list that have had an opportunity. So it's either you respond when you get your opportunity, but you can't raise a frivolous point of order only to find that you are raising a debate. That is not a point of order. Can you continue, Honorable Makua?
Thank you, Chairperson. While some members of the DA who are now speaking were still enjoying the benefits of apartheid, we were in the trenches working to make the constitution of this country the proud document that it is at the moment. Funding in support of black farmers is an important...
Makua, can you take your seat? Honorable Makwele, why are you standing?
Chair.
Can you take your seat, Honorable
I just want to
Not
ask
while
the
he tells me
Speaker
to
that-
sit, Chair.
I just want to
Not
ask
while
the-
he tells me.
Honorable Makua, can you take your seat? Honorable Makua, can you take your seat? Honorable Mokwele, why are you standing?
I'm standing on a point of order, Chair.
Can you raise your point of order?
That Honorable Makue must not mislead the House. ANC is in government. They are failing as ANC
Honorable Mokwele, can you...
to provide
members.
decent houses for farm workers.
Honorable members,
ANC is failing
Honorable Mokwele, can you please take your seat?
to pay our farm workers.
Can you take your seat? Honorable members, honorable members, Honorable Mtimonye, Honorable Mtimonye, Honorable Mtimonye. Honorable Mtimonye, we are getting a final warning because we are disturbing. I want to make a ruling. Can you continue, Honorable Makua? Honorable Julius, sorry,
some of
Honorable
us are used
Honorable
to...
Makua, can you take your seat? Let me... Why, Honorable Julius, are you standing?
Thank you, House Chair. Apologies to Honorable Makue. I just wanted to know whether you will take a question.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Makue, are you ready to take a question?
Unfortunately not, Chairperson.
No, it's not ready. Can you continue, Honorable Makue?
White supremacists and their behavior we are used to. And that is what is causing the suffering of farm workers in this country. And we see it being exercised by one supremacist on my left, as well as his coalition partner, who is further right than what he is from the EFF.
Honorable Mokwele, can you take your seat? Honorable Mokwele?
On a point of order, Chair.
Yes.
The honorable member, Mr. Makue, must not mislead the House. We are not in coalition with any political party. We are not in coalition with any political party, unlike the ANC who went in coalition with the Freedom Front. We voted for a position like we normally do even in Parliament. We supported ANC when ANC was appointing the public protector. So he must not come here and mislead the House. We are not in coalition with any party. We are not in coalition with any party. We voted last week when you were appointing the public protector. We voted with ANC. So don't mislead the House and South Africa. Please. We were dealing with arrogancy of ANC.
Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele. I have made an appeal to you. Can you continue, Honorable Makua? Honorable Mtetwa. Honorable Mtetwa.
Honorable Chair, ngiyafisa nje ukusho ukuthi uyavota nomuntu ongenayo agenda yodwa naye ngoba uvota nomuntu one agenda yodwa naye.
Can you continue, Honorable Makua? Honorable Julius.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's interesting how people scream when the shoe fits.
Honorable Makua, take your seat. Honorable Julius.
Sorry, once more, Honorable Makue. But you made a ruling earlier that the honorable member has a last warning and he did it again. Can you please act and call the bouncers so that the member can go?
Honorable Julius, you are not going to assist me to preside. Honorable Kone. Honorable Kone.
Chair, can you please call Honorable Mtetwa to order and please ask him not to tag us to his sleeping because he's been sleeping like he's a sleepist. He's just woke up now and he wants to address
Honorable Kone, can you take your seat? Can you continue, Honorable Makua?
Honorable Chairperson and members, when Honorable Connie was here at the podium, I waited for when she was going to say something that's helpful. And it's such a pity that they...
Honorable Makue, can you take your seat? Honorable Isaac, can you take your seat? Honorable Isaac.
Honorable Chair, with due respect, mine is a very innocent comment. I just wanted to...
No,
I wanted to welcome Honorable Advocate Pindela. It's nice to see him.
Honorable Isaac, we don't want your comment. Let's allow Honorable Makue to continue with the debate.
Chairperson, I'm sure that the EFF must be missing Andile and Tritama very much because they had nothing new to tell us. Honorable Gaylor, when you talk about the unionization and collective bargaining.
Honorable Makue, can you take your seat? Honorable Mokwele.
We are donating Tritama to you. You can take him. We don't want him. We don't miss him. You can take him.
Honorable Gaylor raised a very important point about the unionization and the importance of collective bargaining.
Honorable Makue, can you take your seat?
Honorable member, please sit down before I can address the chairperson. According
Honorable
to the rules
I've requested
of this
you
House,
to take your seat.
please.
Honorable Kone.
Yes, thank you. Chairperson, Please, we know this honorable member loves EFF, is even obsessed with the EFF, but when he misses the vice Biko, he must not take us to his feelings towards Kritama. We don't miss him. It's fine for him to miss him Kritama, but he must not take us in the EFF. Thank you very much.
Can you continue, Honorable Mako?
Chairman, we have heard in this House that listening is a skill. I have said the EFF misses Kritama, not me. Honorable Galia makes the point, Chairperson, that there is a failure of the ANC government.
Honorable Makwe, let me take this point of order. Honorable Mokwele.
I represent EFF here.
Honorable Mokwele.
Yes.
Make your point of order.
I'm saying I'm representing the EFF in this House.
Honorable
So
Mokwele.
whenever he speaks about the EFF,
Honorable Mokwele.
personally,
Honorable Mokwele.
yes, sir.
I humbly request that you kindly leave the house.
Marwena Chair, what have I done?
Can you leave the house?
I
I've been patient with you enough, and we are not raising a point of order. Can you leave the house? Honorable Mokwele, can you leave the house? Eh? Okay, are you withdrawing?
You chase me out of this house.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Withdraw and sit down.
But the message
Withdraw
is
and
sent.
behave.
But Chair, you must treat me like a child of this house.
Withdraw and behave.
Thank
you. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Can you take your seat? Can you continue, Honorable Makwe?
Chairperson, it is important that when we engage in debate, we do so with intellectual capital. It's not proper to ask this government to intervene in the rulings of the courts. There is a clear separation of powers. And no matter how hard you cry, the ANC will respect the separation
Honorable
of powers.
Makwe, can you take your seat? Honorable Smith.
Honourable House Chair, I would like to hear if the Honourable Member will take a question from me.
Thank you. Honourable members, there's nothing out of order with what is being said by Honourable Smith. She is in order. Honourable Makwe, are you ready to take a question?
From Honourable Smith at any time after hours, Chair. We can have a long session and I can educate him, but not now.
Okay, he's not ready to take the question. Honourable Smith is not ready to take a question.
I'm standing on a point of order now, Honourable Chair.
Okay.
Through what the Honourable Member said, he indicated that I'm uneducated. So I would like
No,
to
Honourable
because he said he
Smith.
will educate me.
Honourable Smith. No, Honourable Smith, that was not a point of order. Can you continue, Honourable Makwe?
Ag maar voorsitter, as die skoen hom pas, dan kan hy dit aantrek. Ons is verbind tot 'n toekoms waar die kind van 'n plaaswerker dieselfde voorregte en geleenthede sal benut as die kind van 'n plaaseienaar. Die deelname wat vir ons gegee is hier deur Honorable Koboshiane wys heel duidelik hoe ernstig die ANC in die Oos-Kaap is om hierdie dinge aan te spreek. Die basiese voorwaardes op indiensnemingwet is 'n groot stap wat deur hierdie ANC-geleide regering geneem is om te verseker dat die onreg en pynvolle ervarings wat werkers en hul families onder apartheid ervaar het, reggestel word. En soos ek hier staan, ervaar ek nog steeds apartheid van sekere van die lede in hierdie huis. Alle partye in hierdie parlement het die verantwoordelikheid om die behoeftes van die plaaswerkers en hul families met erns en dringendheid aan te spreek. Ook die DA moet praktiese aksies neem om die onregte teen plaaswerkers op te los. Ek weet, want ek het familielede hier in die Kaap, wat victims is van die dopstelsel hier. Die spreker wat hier was, die Honorable Schaefer van die Weskaap, sê niks oor die dopstelsel nie. Dan nadat sy aller dinge gesê het, kom sy en sy sê, hulle gaan 'n census doen. Hoekom, wat wil hulle met die census uitvind, wat hulle nie nou weet nie? Ons nodig nie 'n census om te weet, dat die plaaswerkers hier in die Weskaap ook uitgebuit word. We sadly recall the time when farm workers like Jotham Mandisi were dragged by farm owners behind vehicles. And those who hear the noise now, you'll see the relationship with these farm owners. How resistant farmers like Nelson Chisale were thrown into a lion's den. How 4 children in the Verdwaal area of the Northwest Province died of hunger and dehydration resulting from poverty. And it is for those people that we are standing here as the ANC, where we're saying that never and never again will it happen that farm workers in this land will again experience the humiliation that they have experienced. When a car drives past my yard, Chairperson, that's when my dog barks because he sees movement. And the ANC is moving. That's why we hear these noises. Chairperson, while we painfully remember how many farm workers, particularly those working in the Western Cape and other victims, were victims of the dopstelsel, we are saying that the farm industry, the agro industry in the Western Cape has changed for the better because of this ANC-led government, who facilitated massive exports of products that are grown by our uncles and aunts in an exploitative labor market here in the Western Cape. But Chairperson, child labor has been yet another evil of apartheid and exploitative racial capitalism. While the means of production remains in the hands of a white minority, we will not be able to address the inequalities and the injustices resulting from farms in this country. Our former president of the ANC, Tata Nelson Mandela, in July 2009 stated that.
Makue, I'm afraid your time has expired.
Chair, can I read my quote?
Honorable Makue, your time is expired.
Considering all the disruptions, I thank you, Chair.
Let me now invite the Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Honorable Zokwana.
Bayadangi Forsetter, I am so ashamed that we engage in this debate in the manner we do. We put down our skirts to hide what is real. And I hope that workers in the Western Cape and in any other province are watching the style that we are debating in when we claim to be here on their behalf. That is the problem I'm afraid of. And I can tell you this, that over and above the challenges of inequality, poverty, and unemployment, which cuts across all sectors of the economy, Agata faces the daunting challenges of low profitability and rising production costs, the effect of climate change, low productivity at farm level, and the raising global competitiveness. And I agree with the report presented by the Department of Labor. Diabulela Mtlakazi, what you said all is true. But the government can pass all the laws. But if people are unwilling to accept what should be happening, you won't be in every farm on every day to check if farmers, what they should do, they are doing. But I'm not puzzled by this attitude of some parties because at their last Congress in PE, one of their stalwarts stood up to say that the only man in this country he recognized to have been a genius was Hendrik Vervoort. And nobody stood up to deny that and say it is untrue.
Honorable
What
Minister,
else do you expect then from that party?
Honorable Minister, Honorable Julius, why are you standing?
On a point of order, Chairperson.
Okay.
The minister is deliberately misleading the House, and we need to rule on this. Otherwise, this rule is actually useless. We need to rule on this. He stated that a stalwart or someone said that Vervoort was the only one.
Honorable Julius. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members, can you take your seat, Honorable Julius?
But I'm not done.
Yeah, I want to make a ruling before you are even done. Order members, can you take your seat?
Chairperson, do you want to rule on anticipation, or what do you want to rule on something I said?
Can you take your seat? I'll make a ruling, then you take it from
what
there.
I'm saying.
Honorable members, there is a rule about a member that will deliberately make a statement in the House while is the member knowing very well that that statement is not true. But in this case, Honorable Julius, I'm listening very attentively. The Honorable Minister, it's debating, not yet even talk about a member, not even yet talk about a person, not even yet talk about a party. So let's allow the debate to go on. You can't stand up and debate with him in the podium. That is not in order. Can you continue, Honorable Minister?
Ekfra than all the people, all who says they're here in Parliament to change this country. And I want to plead with you that let's not be hard on each other. Facts are facts. The only strike that happened in this country was in a farming town called the Durance by workers. And I wonder, where is that farm? Is that farm in the West Cape? Is not that farm in Western Cape? Did those workers wake up and got angry because everything was nice on them? So please, let's be honest and tell the truth. No, I'm saying on the Durance, so, you know, no, Western Cape is successful on land reform. I would like that tomorrow you drive to Philippi and see those night farms for which we have put funding for them to succeed. Today they are threatened that a new company is to come and develop houses. Not houses for farm workers, for another elite of people who will have money to buy. There's no land in this province set aside for small-scale farmers. You will find in Johannesburg or in other provinces. There's no land for that in the Western Cape. I wonder where then is this fancy, successful farming process? Where is it happening? You know, I can assure you that as a human being, in your life you may need a doctor. You may need a lawyer when you have the permit of the law. But on an everyday basis, you will need food from a farmer, produced by farm workers. Why can't you for a minute respect them? You don't show it. It's a wrong way of showing what they're doing. Unfortunately, your own leader was also a farm owner. He never paid his workers. The man who was saying was paid. He was a farmer, sissy. He was a farmer. There can be no rule that said, if you're a farmer, not a minister, you must pay less. Farm workers, unfortunately, are being abused by their owners because of the lack of education. The conditions under which they leave a lot to be desired. And I believe, therefore, that we need to make sure that this country does what it should do together, irrespective of of what is happening. You know, I can understand what is happening this week. I was in Tanin this weekend, and a group of young guys came to perform. And these guys were saying, there's a party that is dreaming for everything for free, supported with the other one called Don't Pass Again. I don't know what they meant. They didn't tell me what party was that. They didn't tell me who those parties were, but I listened and heard. We need, therefore, when we met with those workers in 2010, in Tudorans, and unfortunately, some of those who stand up and claim to love mine workers, never been to a single day in those. The last meeting was only last month. It was 12 years. The Minister of DA was not there. Mr. Hindle, they didn't go there. He was not there. He was not there. Oh, Henry. Unless it's changed, then I'm sorry. But you have not been to any meeting I've been to, where workers were telling us of stories of staying in horrible conditions. The Dorans have not changed even today. It is the same as what it was in 2010. I request you join me, we go there, we listen to workers, not to stand what papers are saying.
Honorable Minister, can you address the entire House?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a minister next to me.
No, I've addressed that. Order.
An attempt to resolve the strike.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Motara. Honorable Motara. Honorable Motara.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the rules make provision for any member who wants to raise a point of order and how to do it. Is it in order for what Honorable Chetty is doing? If he wants to raise a point of order, he must stand and allow for you to recognize him instead of screaming across the House to you, assisting or raising a point of order the way he is doing.
The point of order is sustained. The rules are very clear. Honorable Chief Whip.
House Chairperson, our rules further
Order, members.
indicate howling is allowed, but members must not drown the speaker at the podium, please.
The point of order is sustained. I've made that point, honorable members. I'm appealing to all of you. You can howl, but you can't drown the speaker. Can you continue, Honorable Minister?
Thanks, Chairperson. The people of Tidorans are still hoping that the program we have set in place will succeed, and I invite, therefore, the provincial MEC who has told me that she will be coming and work with us. I welcome that, and I will make sure that you are invited at the next meeting. So the point I have read one book by Nchunu Achebe called Things Fall Apart. There's one thing I love in that book. It says that the new converts will always be trained so that they insulted their own cultures. They are the first to insult their own leaders. They are the first to insult their own background. And I see that here. Those who are not from, those who have not been part of us are quiet because they are ashamed. But those who were part of us yesterday are now the praise singers. And I'm sure maybe you get some increments for shouting very loud when people are speaking. The Department of Basic Education, Higher Education and Training, and our department must work together to ensure that where there is illiteracy, we make sure that people are assisted. The Department of Agriculture, Forest and Fisheries, every year honors farm workers. Every year we honor workers. And every year we pay 100,000 rand to the best farm worker. And last month we did. So we want to say therefore that show by doing what you claim you want to do. So, and I have observed, Chairperson, that this understanding of working together has gone beyond what happened in municipalities. When the DA was speaking, the EFF was so obvious, but it's silent. When the ANC speaks, they get rejuvenated. They are destructive. Because why? Because why? He who pays the piper plays the tune. So we want to invite organized agriculture.
Honorable House Chair, I want to know whether it's parliamentary for a member to go and hit on the table here. Like, I don't know. It's the first time I see this in this house.
Smith, you are in order. The members, refrain from doing what is being raised by Honorable Smith. Please. Continue, Honorable Minister.
So we have got a program we are running, led by the Deputy President, whose aim is to create a compact between all stakeholders. We are calling on organized labor, labor unions. We have called upon the big commercial agriculture, that is Agrisa, NAFU, AFASA, and ASUF. We call upon unions like FAO and others. And we're saying that let's find a way we can work together to build a better South
Honorable
Africa.
Minister, Honorable Dikhale.
I am very sorry, Honorable House Chair. I am very, very sorry to disturb the minister. I cannot even hear what the minister is saying. The two members they're making a lot of noise. Can you please help us?
Thank you. Honorable members, the appeal is applicable to all members of this August House. Let's refrain from drowning the speaker. Can you continue, Honorable Minister?
We'll call therefore upon all the parties in this House to join that program. It is the best for farm workers. It is the best for food production. It is better for peace in the country. One of the interventions by government is the program of 50-50 by land reform. Where it has been done, it has shown that farm workers are better off because instead of being farm workers, they are now owners. The government has gone on to build farm villages so that farm workers have a place to live in peace and harmony. Now, I believe, therefore, that there are those who come to this house to make noise because they don't know what else they can do. They can offer better solutions. But we will move on because when you ride a bicycle in a village, delivering a post, you don't watch what dogs are doing before you, for you know where you are going. In working together to address the working conditions and treatment of farm workers, the department is driving a social compact document that will serve as a glimmer of hope to ensure that there is a lasting peace for our people. We say to farmers, treat your workers with dignity. You will find peace in your farm. We say to those who are killing farmers and farm workers, we need to make sure that that struggle is taken up. We had a meeting last month with the Commissioner of Police to look at forms and ways we can find peace in dealing with this. I'm not surprised when people make noise. When councillors are called upon to pay 50% of their earnings to a party It is more than the biblical demand that you will pay 10% to the church. They want more than that. They don't respect their own councillors. Now they come here and make noise. I understand why they disobey this house.
Before I recognize you, let me assist members by reading Rule 37. Yeah, let me, Honorable Mokwele, let me read this rule for all of you. The officer, Rule 37, subsection 1, the officer presiding may order a member to leave the chamber immediately for the remainder of the day sitting if the officer presiding is of the opinion that the member's conduct is grossly disorderly, or the member is in contempt or disregarding the authority of the chair, or the member is deliberately contravening a provision of these rules. Can you continue, Honorable Minister?
Thanks, Chairman.
You want to
Thanks,
talk?
House Chair. Our request as a department, therefore, is that we need partnership with the Department of Labor, but of Land Reform. Our department.
Honorable Mohosi.
Nke botsa gore a lona gana gore o nkgatelela ka melawana ya ntlo chairperson o re wa ntshosetsa gore se ka bua because o rile o kopile gore o bue pele o botswa o nota morago gore ke ne le tumalano ya ka le wena eo yaanong gape ya o etsa go bua ga o tlhole o nna tšhono.
Honorable Honorable Koni, why are you standing? Why are you standing? State your point of order. I read the rule for all the members, not for you. For all the members of this house.
Chairperson, ke a re dumalane le wena gore ga o etsa go bua se o ne se bua o tla boela mo go nna o mpha tšhono ya gore ke tle ke eme ka maoto ke bue se ke ne ke re ke a se bua yaanong ga o tlhole gape o bua yalo.
No, that was not the case, but I can recognize you. State your point.
I was standing on a point of order to be recognized.
Raise your point of order. You are recognized.
Me, but you said only
no,
after.
You are recognized.
You have addressed
Can you raise your point of order?
Chairperson, ke kopa go bolelela minister gore rona ba bang ga ra tlela mo dipolotiking for self-enrichment like him. He must not take politics personal. Thank you.
Honorable Mokwele, that is not a point of order. Can you continue, Honorable Minister?
Thanks, House Chair. Therefore, we are saying, therefore, the department will appeal to all people that at least the food you eat is from the hands of those workers who work even if it is raining. I hope that the Honorable Mr. Smith will ensure that, will make sure that as he claims to be a farmer, he should be exemplary and pull all farmers by the hand and join our department to change the living conditions of our workers. You cannot be able to compete with the global farmers when you pay your workers less and you don't know where they are staying.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Smith.
Honorable House Chair, just on a point of order, I never said that I'm a farmer. I said I grew up on a farm. So,
Honorable Smith, that is not a point of order. Can you continue, Honorable Minister?
So nonetheless, therefore, Mr. Smith, I'm sorry to say that you are a farmer, but you grew up in a farm. I still ask you, the Honorable.
Honorable Julius.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just need you to rule on something. Earlier we had an incident where you said no names were mentioned.
Come again?
When you made a ruling about misleading statements in the House, you made a ruling that no names were mentioned. Now, a name was mentioned by the minister.
Honorable Julius, I've made a ruling and Honorable Minister has even addressed that issue. Can you take your seat, Honorable Julius? Can you continue, Honorable Minister?
I guess Honorable Smith, to make that mistake of you being a farmer. But because you grew in a farm, you know the farm conditions. Please join us unashamedly so that we can change the way under which farm workers
Honorable
are staying.
Minister, Honorable Mokwele.
Ka boikokobetso modulasetulo.
Honorable Mokwele.
Ka boikokobetso. Ke ne ke botsa gore a ministera ka tsa potso. Ka boikokobetso.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, are you ready to take a question?
I think even if I would, it would take a day for her to understand what I may be saying. The way she has been showing herself, I think she would need a month.
To take your question, take your seat. Continue, Honorable Minister.
On a point of. Ka boikokobetso gape modulasetulo. Ka boikokobetso. Ga ke batle gore ntate wa nyatse. Ntate wa ministera wa
No,
nyatsa.
Honorable Mokwele. No, can you take your seat?
Ntate wa ministera
I've made a
wa
ruling. Can you
nyatsa.
take your seat? Continue, Honorable Minister.
But you must listen to what
I
I'm
would
saying.
I would say again,
Chair,
sorry,
on a point of
Ma'am
order.
Mokweng, if I appear to unyatsa, kunyatsi at
On a
all,
po- on a-
ngwaneso.
on a
Fela
point
ke
of
bua
order.
polelo e re, ke bone mokgwa ona o bua ka ona
On a
mo
point
ntlong.
of
Le
order.
tlhaloganyo ya ka bona hore o tla hloka kgwedi hore o tlhaloganye se ke tla o tla bua le wena ka sona. So, farmers has a right to be in farms. Workers has the right to be employed by farmers. All of us must be able to work together so that farm workers get dignity. They stay in better conditions because it is through them that we get the kind of economy we are having. It is a very important sector. We are proud of
Minister.
working in that sector.
Honorable
I
Minister.
request each and every leader.
Honorable Mokwele.
Are you ignoring me deliberately?
Honorable Mokwele, why are you standing?
No, I'm asking, are you ignoring me deliberately?
You are recognized. Why are you standing?
I'm asking you whether you are ignoring me.
No, you can't stand to ask me a question.
No, but you o lebella kwa ke bua o lebella kwa o sa mphe chance ya gore ke bue.
You are recognized.
Yeah, ke batla gore modulasetulo o bolelle ntate wa ministera gore a se ka nyatsa. A se ka nyatsa.
Okay, take your
Sa
seat.
se buang.
Honorable
Sa se
Mokwele.
buang le sa se etsang.
Honorable
A
Mokwele.
exploita babereki ba gage.
Honorable
A se ka
Mokwele.
nagana gore le rona re ira yana.
Honorable Mokwele.
Wa utlwa modulasetulo.
Honorable Mokwele.
So ga sa batle go tsa potso e ke mo e botsang, a se ka ira statement.
Honorable
Because
Mokwele.
le ene is not a farmer.
Honorable
So
Mokwele.
go mining.
Can you stop addressing
He
me
exploited
and leave the house?
our
Honorable
NAM
Mokwele.
members as the president and NAM.
Can you switch that thing off? Honorable Mokwele, can you leave the house? Honorable Mokwele. No, can you leave the house? Honorable Mokwele, can you leave the house? Honorable Mokwele, can you leave the house? Honorable Trimbi, can you leave the house? Can you leave the house? Can you continue, Honorable Minister? Honorable Minister, can you continue?
Thanks, Chairperson. In closing, let me say this, that I make an appeal. Let's work with Department of Labor so that we can change the lives of farm workers. That department won't be in any farm to make sure that the roles they set will be fulfilled. It is upon us as individual South Africans to make sure that we give deals to farm workers. I would like to the Western Cape government, don't pride yourself of being the best. There's no best on this battle. There's one South Africa, the image is the same. A day will come when people say, we won't buy from you because of your loss. Let's not wait that to happen. We love the products we produce. They are not consumed by us all. Some of them are meant for Japan and other countries. Please, let's not grandstand. The country is really facing a problem. There will be another deterrence not very far. I have years to your Monday,
Honorable Minister. Thank you. Honorable Deputy Minister of Labour, the Honorable Holomisa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Under normal circumstances, at the conclusion of a debate, it is your desire as the person who opened the debate to express your gratitude to all who participated. But we have to do that conscious of the feelings of those about whom you have been debating. Now I'm wondering as to whether the farm workers whose conditions we were talking about are grateful to all of us for the contribution that we have made in this debate. It doesn't seem as if we put the farm workers at the center. We tended to dig our heels in defending or promoting our known positions. But nonetheless, there are points that have been made which are encouraging. One of these being that a call has been made that the Department of Labor must be capacitated, that inspectors must be empowered with all the tools of trade that they need, that they must be increased in number so that as many of these farms are visited. It has also been agreed that a number of farm owners, in spite of the laws and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, continue to violate the rights of farm workers. It has become clear that the freedom that everybody else elsewhere enjoys is not enjoyed by our farm workers. The message that has come out of this is that farm workers too are human beings, that they must be treated in the same way that we would like to be treated ourselves. I heard here the DA extolling the good work that the Western Cape is doing insofar as the treatment of farm workers is concerned. Now, I wonder if the good work that the farmers, the DA is talking about in the Western Cape, are doing enough to ensure that these people are treated as human beings, or whether they are just doing enough to ensure that they comply with the law. If we treat each other as human beings, in the spirit of what we call Ubuntu, which I believe everybody subscribes to, it should not be necessary for government to make these kinds of laws. It should not be necessary for there to be money spent on inspectors to tell human beings, adults, to treat other people as human beings. You should be asking ourselves as to whether the money that we pay our farm workers, is it enough to give them and their children and their families the kind of life that we lead? Are they able to eat even the food that they produce? Are they able to send their children to the same schools that the farm owner is sending his or her own children? Are they able to afford transport? Are they able to have a piece of land of their own so that they can produce food for themselves? I heard commendably that the idea is to transform farm workers into farm owners. But are we really doing that? Or are we simply complying with the law? I think we need, in the future, to have this kind of debate where we open it, not only to the question of the conditions of farm workers and their labor rights, but to talk about the other socio-economic factors that affect their lives. Education. Do they get access to education? the same kind of education that the children of the farm owners are getting? Are they getting access to health, the same kind of health that is accessed by the owners of the farms, and so on and so on. But nonetheless, we take account of what has been said by all the speakers. And of course, as a parting shot, Mr. Chairperson, as long as there are people who live on other people's land, there will continue to be exploitation. I think we need to be serious about the question of land. The 87%, 13% dichotomy has still not yet been fully addressed, has not even been addressed. So as long as that remains with us, so shall we continue to find people who lead lives that are similar to those of slaves. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes the debate. Honorable members, allow me to thank Deputy Minister, Minister, and special delegates. Let me address the point of order that was raised by Honorable Makue against Honorable Engelbrecht. Honorable members, during the debate on the 20th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa on the 24th of August 2016, Honorable Makue raised a point of order against Honorable Engelbrecht. Honorable Makue alleged that, and I quote, "Chairperson, I rise on a point of order. It is a terrible insult for an honorable member of this House to say to a person that you are visually impaired, open your eyes. She owes an apology." After allegations were put, I then confirmed whether Honorable Engelbrecht has made the statement. She responded as follows, and I quote, "Mr. Chair, it is a figure of speech. In English, when you say to somebody that open your eyes, it means open your eyes and look what is happening around you. It is a figure of speech. It is a well-known figure of speech, Honorable Chair," close quote. I asked her again whether she made the statement, and she maintained her response, and I quote, "I did not make a derogatory statement, Mr. Chair. I did not make a derogatory statement, but I made a figure of speech," close quote. I then indicated that I will refer to Hansard record to ascertain whether alleged statement was made, which I did, and make a properly considered ruling on this matter. The question is whether the statement made by Honorable Engelbrecht is unparliamentary. Our language are rich with metaphors, which in some instances may be misconstrued as derogatory or offensive, depending on the context. In the matter before me, I accepted that Honorable Engelbrecht used a figure of speech, which may be construed as insensitive. I am, however, of the view that Honorable Engelbrecht did not intend to offend the honorable member who was at the podium at that time. I have had regard to Rule 46, which provide that members may not use offensive or unbecoming language towards other members, commonly known as unparliamentary language. This must be balanced with freedom of speech. This rule is broadly framed to allow the presiding officer to take into consideration, among other things, the context and tone of a particular remarks or inference. Having considered the above, I conclude that the words used by Honorable Engelbrecht do not amount to unparliamentary language. That concludes the business of the day. Members are requested to remain standing until the procession has left the House. The House is adjourned. Thank you.